Hi guys, let's do find players with 0 or 1 losses. So we're given an integer array matches where matches at I equals winner at I and loser at I, which indicates that the player winner at I defeated player loser at I in a match. And they want us to return a list answer of size 2 where answer at 0 is a list of all players that have not lost any matches, and answer at 1 is a list of all players that have lost exactly one match. The values in the two lists should be returned in increasing order. You should only consider the players that have played at least one match. The test cases will be generated such that no two matches will have the same outcome. Okay, there's a lot going on here, so let's look at the examples. I feel like that'll make more sense. So in example 1, we are given matches as this array, and we output this array because players 1, 2, and 10 have not lost any matches. So if you guys remember, the ones in the first index, so index 0, is players who have not lost any matches. Or in here, sorry. Players that have not lost any matches, players that have lost one match exactly. So, and then in this array, this is the winner and loser for each match. So in here, so if we check players who have not lost any matches, so they've only won, player 1, right? So if we go through here, then if we check 1 has only won a match. We do not see 1 in the second index of or index 1 technically, of any of these inner arrays anywhere. And then for 2, we see that player 2 has won a match but has never lost a match, right? There's no player 2 in any of the index 1s in any of these inner arrays. And same for 10. So if we check 10, 10 has only won matches. 10 has not lost any matches. So if we check here, so player 4 has lost one match right here, right? So the second index is if they lost the match for the input array. Player 5, if we look through, player 5 has lost one match, and they have not, so they only lost one match exactly, so they go in here. Player 7, if we look through, they've lost exactly one match. And player 8, they have lost exactly one match as well. So, because we do not see 8 appear again in this index anywhere. And then for numbers that are not in here, so let's say 3, for example, 3 has lost 2 matches. So since they have not lost 0 or exactly one match, then we don't even put them in the output array at all. So, so then all the winners that have not lost anything, we put them here. Everyone who's lost only one, we put them in here. That's basically how that works. And then if we look at example 2, just for another example, let's see. So these are the winner people who have won all matches. They have not lost any, and then players who have lost exactly one match. So I guess nobody lost exactly one match here, and player 1 has never lost, player 2 has never lost, player 5 has never lost, and player 6 has never lost. And then everybody else, so 3 has lost 2 matches, which is not 0 or 1, so they don't even go in here. And same with 4, right? Player 4 has lost 2 matches, which is not 0 or 1, so we don't even put them in here. And then nobody has lost one match, so that's empty. So, okay, there's a lot going on here, so let's break down some of the steps. So we for sure know that we need to loop through our input array, our matches, to check who has won or lost matches, right? So we know there's going to be a loop here, and we also know that we want to keep track of number of losses for each player, because we need to know if each player has had no losses, one loss, or more than one loss, in order to know where to put them or not to put them in the output array. So to keep track of number of losses, we're going to want to map each player to their number of losses using a hash map. And then once we have mapped that out, so I'll show you what that would look like actually, so it's clear. So if that's our matches array, and then we want to output this, then we'll create a hash map, And we will loop through our matches array to check number of losses. So let's also label this as player and number of losses in our map, like that. Okay, so we're gonna loop through here. So player 1 so far has not lost any matches, so we can add them with 0. And then player 3 has, so far we see that they've lost 1 match, so we can add them in here with 1. And then we go to the next one. So player 2 we see has not lost any matches so far, so we add them in here with 0. And then we see player 3 again. Player 3 lost another match, so we're going to increment this to 2. And then here we see that player 3 won a match, but we're only mapping number of losses, so we just don't do anything to this. We just leave it the way it is. Player 6, we do not have them in here yet, and we see that they lost, so we're going to add them in here with 1 loss. And then we continue. Player 5, we see that they have not, they're not in here yet, and they won, so we're going to add them in here with 0 losses. 6 lost another match, so we're going to increment this to 2. 5 we see has won another match, but they're already in here, so we just leave that as it is. And then 7, we do not have a 7 in here yet, so we're going to add 7 with 1 loss. 4, player 4, we see is not in here yet, so we're going to add them in here with 0 losses. Player 5 lost 1, so we're going to increment this to 1 loss. Player 4 won another match, but they're already in here, so we leave it. Player 8 we do not have yet, so we're going to add player 8 with 1 loss. 4 we already have, they won, so we leave it. 9 we do not have player 9 yet, so we're going to add player 9 with 1 loss. Player 10 won a match, we do not have player 10 in here yet, so we're going to add 10 with 0 losses. 4 we are going to increment this to 1 loss, and 10 is won another match, so we leave that. 9 lost another match, so we're going to increment that to 2. So this is going to be our map once we're done looping through this array. And then from this map, we are going to want to loop through this map to check the number of losses of each player, right? So basically we want to check the second number, really. If it's 0, we're going to add it. We need to create a new list, I guess, for our output first. And in our list, we are going to, if each player has 0 losses, we're going to add them into this first index. If they have 1 loss, like player 5, we're going to add them into this second index. And if they have more than 1 loss, then we're not going to add them at all, such as player 3, right? We don't see a player 3 in here anywhere. So that's how that's going to work. And then we need to have our output sorted, actually, for each index. See how this is 1, 2, 10, 4, 5, 7, 8. It's all sorted in each inside array. So we also need to sort that. So we can start off by having we can add all of these to a list. The players in the map to a list. That way we process them in order, like in increasing order. So if we create a list and sort all the players, then we can say players, and that's a list, by the way, and we can say, like, once these are sorted, it'll just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? These are all of our players sorted. And then that way, when we loop through the map, we're going to check each player and we're going to process them sorted, because maps don't have a sorted order. So this will just help us keep it sorted, and then we'll add them into our output already sorted. So let's start off by initializing our hash map. And that's going to be integer, and then we need to loop through our matches to add all the players into the map. So for int match in matches, okay, and then we do not need an inner loop, like a nested loop, only because, so normally for a 2D array we would, but in this case, because every single array on the inside here is of index 2, we can just assign a winner and a loser. So int winner is match at index 0, and the loser is match at index 1. And then that way we can just avoid doing a nested loop. Even if we did a nested loop though, it would only run twice per iteration anyway, so it would still be linear, but this is just easier. And then we are going to add each player to our map. So if we already have that player, we are just going to increase their losses if they lost, or do nothing if they won. If we do not have that player yet, then we are going to add them into the map with 0 if they're a winner. And increase it if it's a loser. But so, okay, let's put if absent the winner with 0, right? If you recall, so the first one, when we encountered 1, we want to add 1 to our map because we didn't have it yet at this time. And because they won, we just add them with a 0 because they didn't lose yet. So we're going to add them with 0. And then for the loser, we are going to add them, so like for 3, we're going to add 3 with, so increasing the number if we already had that, or just making it 1 if we did not already have them in the map. So map.get or default, loser 0 plus 1. Okay, and then we're just going to do that for every single match in our matches array. So then that's going to build out our map. And then once we're done building out the map, then we will have this to work with. And then once we have that, we want to build out our output array. So we're going to do a list of integers. And we're going to okay. And then because so we have 2 arrays inside of here, so I'm just going to add 2 empty arrays. So dot add new array list. Okay, so now our answer array basically just looks like that. Okay, and they're both empty currently. So now I'm going to make another list, because remember we needed to sort our players here, and we need this. So I'm going to make another array for that. So list of integers, and I'll name it sorted players, and we're going to just directly add the keys in the map, just like that. And then we are going to sort that array. So I'm just going to use collections.sort. And that will, so when we do this, so this is going to add, if we look at our map here, we had 1, 3, God, I'm going to pull this down. 1, 3, 2, 6, 5, 7, 4, 8, 9, and 10, right? So that's what this would look like originally. And then once we sort it, then it is going to be that. So, okay, once we have that sorted, then we want to loop through our sorted players. So for each player in sorted players, and then now we want to check our map. So if the value of that player is 0, like that means they have not lost any matches, so they've only won, then we are going to add them into the beginning of our, like the first index of our output, which is here. And if they have lost exactly one time, we're going to add them here. So if the value is 1, we add them here. And then otherwise we just do nothing. We don't add them at all. So if our map.get player is 0, then we are going to add them to our output array in the first index. Okay, and then otherwise if map.get player is 1, then we're going to add them to the first index. And since this is sorted already, then this will just add them all in sorted order. And also the runtime for this, for collections.sort, is n log n, where n is the number of players. Just so you guys know. Okay, and then once we've done that, then we will just return our answer array. So let's test that. Okay, and then our time here. So, okay, let's think about what exactly we did here. So first we had to loop through all of our matches. So let's, first we had to loop through all of our matches, which is O of, let's say M for matches. So that is already O of, let me put that here, O of M. And then we have to, so once we do that, let me think. We had to sort all of our players in our map, which if each player, we have number of matches, which is M, and then we have each actual player, which is, we can say is N. So this would be N log N, because we have to sort every single player. And here we also add each player into our sorted list. So that would be O of N, because we basically have to loop through each key in the map to add them into the list. Like, we didn't do it ourselves, but that's basically what's going on behind the scenes here. So if we visit every single player in the map, that's O of N. This is O of N log N. And then for each player in our sorted list, that's another O of N, because we're visiting every single player in our sorted list. And that's it. So if we add all of these up, that's O of N plus O of N plus O of N log N. So far this simplifies to O of N log N, but then we also have an O of M up here, so that is O of M plus N log N, where we can define M as number of matches and N as number of unique players. I'll say unique because technically, like, we have some of these appear multiple times in different matches, but it's still the same player. So I'm just each 3 I'm treating as 1, each 6 I'm treating as 1, right? So yeah, and then our space. So let's see what data structures we have. We have this hash map, which stores the basically each match. So worst case, if every single one is unique, it's going to store every single unique player. Yeah, so if every player played like one match or something, it's going to store every player once, which is, or I guess if every player had at least one loss, because if they have multiple losses, we won't add them. But yeah, so this is going to be O of N, and then we also have to add them into the answer array, which we also store each worst case each player, just in different indices. So, and then we have sorted players, which is O of n because we're storing every single player once here, just in sorted order. And then that is it for our data structures. So O of n plus O of n plus O of n simplifies to O of n. So that is it for this problem. I know this one was kind of a lot, but I hope that made sense. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.